straight or is my head crooked? One of the two. I don't know. Hey, sorry. Anyway, hey everybody. Josh the RV Nerd here at Bish's RV. Getting some updated footage for you on the 19 FPS GeoPro here at my hometown Coldwater, Michigan store. And people ask me all the time, whoa, FPS, what does that mean? I think it either stands for Frank Billy Sam or Frilly Billy Silly. I ain't exactly sure which, but while we're trying to discern the model number designator, let's take a look at this sucker with our floor plan and a flash. And this is man, it's become just like one of their core floor plans in the GeoPro lineup, or the Flagstaff E-Pro. Two names for literally the same RV, by the way. And for good reason. There's a lot of people like, I don't want to have to get a big 3/4 ton truck just to get a nice RV. I want a small RV that's a nice RV for either just two of us and we're okay with it being cozy and compact, or maybe it's just one person running around solo. Maybe it's just you and the cat, or you and the dog, or the parakeet or iguana. I don't know. That's where this one kind of comes in here, because it's a small RV with only a 7-foot body, but the sofa slide gives it a little bit more living space and opens it up nicely when you get there. This model has fantastic traveling access, by the way. Bed, kitchen, bathroom, all readily accessible without ever touching the slide button, which is really, really handy. These have tank heaters standard. They were one of the first RVs to really standardize any level of solar, and we're getting to look at one today, not only with the standard 200 watts of factory solar, but a second panel thrown onto it right from the factory, which is cool, because not only, it's like Bish's, we could add more solar to it, but now all that stuff is covered by the factory warranty, which is really, really nice. These use a low-profile air conditioner, so the overall exterior height is a little bit lower. Depending on the size of your garage door, some people say they can get these in a garage, but a standard residential garage, probably not. You need a little bit taller overhead door. That being said, though, it's got a couple janky things. Like, I'll volunteer something right away here. It's an east-west shoved up in the nose corner bed, and if there's two of you, one of you's got to crawl over the other one constantly. Now, if you're okay with that, well then, great. We've got a good option here for you. And if not, check some links in the video description. We'll have some alternative options. But in the meantime, stay tuned and let's see what Geo has to offer either you or your cat or your couple. I don't know. It kind of fell off the rails here, didn't it? Of course, it didn't start great talking about my hat. I'm still talking. Oh my God, shut up. Now, another thing I want to mention right away before I forget, because I typically forget to do this. If you like what you see in this video and you're like, okay, but before I fork over a lot of money, because let's be real, campers cost a good chunk of money. Before you go doing that, you want to make sure you know what you're getting. Check the links in the video description. I have a full factory walkthrough video tour of the GeoPro facility, and if I forget to leave that link, please drop me a note and say, hey, stupid, you forgot the link, and I'll be like, derp. Should have had a V8 kind of moment. But my point here is, like, their roof structure is different from like almost anybody else's roof structure I've seen in this industry. It's actually two laminated sections that each are mini vaulted that seam together like an extension bridge to create this. It's 6.5 foot tall at the apex of the ceiling. It's actually only 6'1" on the sidewall. So what that does is it keeps the weight down, but it still makes the RV look and feel decently open without adding a lot of extra bulk and heft to it. And sorry for the interruption, total brain fade here. The bed, I know it's an east-west corner bed, and I get that that's a problem for a lot of folks, but one of the really nice qualities about it is at least it is a 60 by 80 true queen-size mattress. Because, frankly, most RVs don't come with really nice bedding, and I've never seen two people who really agree on what a good bed is. What is cool about this is that if you do want to go swap it out with any sort of residential size mattress or get normal size sheets, it's just way easier to do that on one of these. Now, back to your regular programming. There's one downside to that, and you will see that expressed in the shower. Now, one of the other things here is that I'm a little over 6 foot tall, and I can cleanly walk right under that air conditioner, no sweat. Something else that's kind of cool here is that your air and your heat are still controlled by a thermostat. So you don't have the old ancient analog, thermostat over on the wall for your furnace for this thing. And, it's easier to keep on top of your air conditioning. They also don't have floor heating vents. That's what that black circle is over there next to that drawer. Let's actually go from left to right over here. So on the left, power outlets. And every single outlet in this RV is run to a 1,000 watt factory inverter. To the left of that is an air intake, I believe, for your furnace. And we've just got a dresser drawer. We'll get that open for you in a little bit here to check out the storage glorage. We already saw the heat vent. Above that, the black square, that is your remote. Basically, that's your on-off switch for your factory inverter. Now, it's a 1,000-watt inverter. That's not enough to like run the air conditioner or the microwave. And you know what? Some higher draw household appliances also won't work off a 1,000-watt inverter. But it's 1,000 watts more than almost anything else in a single axle comes with standard. Even say like Embers by default that are really kind of made for that off-grid type camping, they're also a 1,000-watt inverter standard. I think GeoPro's really kind of set the, well, standard there. And check this out. This used to be an available option, but now standard with the larger 22-inch oven. Versus the 16-inch Easy Bake Oven. Apparently, I'm cooking my feet in there. If you look at the reflection on it. But basically, not only is it bigger, it heats far more evenly. The smaller ovens are just notorious for having hot-cold zones, and you don't suffer from that here. Now, what I'm doing right now, and what I've been doing, is I got my fat butt parked on the sofa over here, and I'm giving you a view from the driver's seat. What is kind of nice is when you do sit down, it doesn't really look like it from the outside, but tell me this is not just some awesome window coverage on here. You can really see around all over the place, and we're parked right up next to the building. A lot of people don't know they are on candid camera currently. The entertainment on this, they've been doing a 12-volt TV for a while, but what you're seeing here in the GeoPro has basically become the standard across the family. That is a 12-volt like TV soundbar combo. Now, it's not a smart TV, but it has some HDMI plugs in the back, so if you wanted to add like a Roku upgrade or something, you can do that. What's funny is I did that at my house. I had a pair of Amazon Fire TVs, and the whole Fire browser interface is just not great. It just doesn't operate very well sometimes, and I actually bought a Roku unit to plug into my existing smart TV just to make it work better. So that's kind of my preference if you're going to get one, you know. The cabinetry here. A lot of single axle little campers, you start getting some real budget cuts when it comes to cabinetry. And I will show you all the storage opened up in just a minute. But notice you have all hardwood doors. You do have a hardwood flat panel door insert. It's flat on this side. It's actually a raised panel on this side. And this is nice because it's a better material. Part of me wishes the raised panel was actually on the forward facing side so that it just, you know, looked a little bit more, sharp. They got away from the mitered corner cabinets. This is all pocket screwed cabinetry. You may notice too, there was a privacy shade built right into the entry door straight from the factory. Because what the others don't, Rock does. Rockwood. There we go. What they wouldn't, Rockwood. That I like. That works. Okay. Now, there's not a whole ton of options on these like there had been in the past. A lot of the things that were optional have become standard. You can upgrade to a convection microwave oven if you're so inclined. Now, if you notice over here to the left, there's a black switch. That is it's a hard on-off kill switch for the refrigerator. But there's like this dead vertical panel, and I really wonder what is inside of that. Here's an upgrade or a factory change I would love to see on this. And I don't know if it's physically possible because I don't know what's inside that cavity. But even if that was just open, I don't love open storage, but if it gave me a place to keep like a broom or a Swiffer, I don't know. I think that would be pretty handy, pretty useful stuff. Now, parking my butt up here on the front bed, you may notice how you've got your charge controller over there next to the thermostat, and next to any of your seating, you've got some kind of power outlet situation going on. And remember, those are all inverted outlets, which is cool. Now, a lot of people look at this and they go, ooh, can I get a theater seat? And you can't, because the foot kick plate, basically, of that sofa, it's kind of like a false kick plate. It's actually hiding the fact that slide out is not all the way down to the floor. That sofa doesn't start at the floor. That sofa starts like a foot off the ground because it's actually located above the wheel well. That's kind of one of the differences between a GeoPro and a mini light. You can start getting theater seats and floor flush slides in mini lights, but even the smallest of the mini lights still don't have that feature. That's just kind of one of those things there. The big square kitchen sink, a lot of people prefer square sinks over a radius sink, which, you know, makes a decent amount of sense to me. And even though they do have a lot of lighting in here, you can still individually control all your lights. What's nice about that is when you don't want it super bright in here, or if you want to manage your power consumption, it kind of just gives you a couple nice little options and opportunities right there. Now, cracking open all the storage, let's actually start right down about here under the bed. Just no space gone to waste, although I could see somebody removing that drawer and putting a little pet bed or something down in there. That could work. Now, under the TV, did you see my little jacket hanging? I went inside and grabbed that. They actually do have a small, shallow hanging closet right under the television of this one, which is kind of cool. Just a little bit different thing that they do here. Now, under the oven, there was also that pocket of storage, and there's a big part of me that wonders, like, would that actually make sense being left open air, open face? Like, I'm not a fan of open face storage, but maybe a place to put some pet dishes. I don't know, I can see that working. Then again, you can always just take the door front off. That's not very difficult by any stretch of the imagination right there. Now, I think it's a 5.3 cubic foot, 12 volt compressor fridge, and there's no fridge swaptions on these. That's all they do. Now, some people have asked, what if I don't want the microwave? Can I get them to put a bigger refrigerator in it? And the answer is no. As it turns out, you cannot, because they use the same parts in this facility all day, every day. Even though they use a bigger fridge in other Rockwoods, they don't use a bigger fridge in this Rockwood. So that's just kind of one of those things that you sort of want to keep in mind on there. Now, over here, if you look at the sofa, or rather behind it, notice how you've got a nice kind of blackout roller shade there for your windows. You'll find those all the way around anywhere that they possibly can put them. Just a nice little feature, nice little touch. Obviously, you've got a free-floating, fold-away kind of picnic table. It actually slots right behind the sofa when you're not using it. That could fold down to a small jackknife sofa. And compared to previous seasons, they were listening. A lot of people, they used to put this big, fancy-looking tufted pillow back on these sofas. But if you folded it down into a sleeper, there was not a single level surface on that. So if you are going to use it for a sleeper, well, at least it's a little more functional that way. Big dogs, little grandkids, maybe unruly husbands who got kicked out of bed tonight. All those things can kind of work for you here. Now, sliding back into the bathroom, I do want to mention they don't fully frame out their door. They do a little bit of the peekaboo, I smell you door. But unless you got one of those Navy SEAL endoscopy cams, no one's looking up there. The reason they do that is actually twofold. First, it's because they have frameless windows. And secondly, it's because they have frameless windows. Because they also use the big XL vent fan standard on these. Now, that thing can pull like a 7-mile-an-hour breeze consistently through the RV, and heat rises. So if you're sleeping in this thing, you don't have the air conditioner running, and you don't want to, burn yourself out of it, you can keep the hot air sucked out of the RV very effectively, especially with that barreled vaulted ceiling. It really pulls the air up there. Now, you got to remember, it's only a 7-foot wide camper, and the bathroom's definitely shoved back here in the corner. It's not a big camper. It can't have a big bathroom. But considering that, the toilet space in this actually is, I can respect it. It's not great. It's not even fantastic. It's not good. It's just okay. And it's good enough, It is helped by the fact that they do use that, sliding kind of shower curtain here, so that you can sort of lean over a little bit while you're doing your business. Now, speaking of shower, this is where that double vaulted ceiling and the 6'1" sidewalls is a bit of a hiccup, because it means that I'm a little over 6 foot, and I flat cannot stand in that thing. Like, if you're my size, you're going to have to duck a little bit to take a shower. And for some folks, that might be a problem. I get it. That's why I like to point that out, and I hope you appreciate and respect it. But for other folks, they say, well, I only spend a few minutes in the shower, or I tend to use the park facilities anyway. I don't care. Everybody's got their own thing. You saw a little shower soak caddy, and right there you got the shower miser. And I don't think GeoPro was the first one to do it, but man, they were the first ones to really make it popular among a lot of people, that little water saver system right there. It's a freshwater recycling, like reclamation system, basically. You can make sure that you're not wasting any of the water from your fresh tank, waiting for your water to warm up to go into the shower. That little blue elbow turns white when your water's warmed up, which is kind of cool. It gets the job done. Speaking of job done, I do believe we are just about done with our living room side of things. And as far as travel access goes, that's one of the other really excellent qualities about this one. When the slide is fully retracted, like we're looking at right here, it just flat does not cut the camper off. As you recall, we've got the refrigerator right back here by the entry door. So if you are stopping, I don't even know that you got to climb inside the RV. You could reach inside and grab a drink if need be. And as you notice, the bathroom door can also fully swing open. So making whether it's a little quick potty stop or stopping to make lunch or even just sleep overnight somewhere, this one passes the test. A+ travel access. Now, when we start talking towing on this little thing, like it's basically 20 foot, pretty much on the nose, tip to tail, which is a very easy towing size and number. And I think there's going to be some people who are going to ask, oh, I've got like a Toyota Sienna with a, their towing package or whatever. Or you've got an SUV or a minivan rated for 3,500 pounds. Do you think that this would make a good pairing for that? And a lot of people are going to say yes, and they're going to take your money, and then they're going to laugh and get away from you. I'm not one of those. First of all, I don't take your money because I'm not in sales. But secondly, you need to look at the GVW of this. First of all, the empty base dry weight's over 3,300 pounds. That's already pushing way too much close to your limit there. But the GVW is around the 4,500 pound mark, as I recall. And what that means is that, with cargo, you're going to exceed a lot of, SUV minivan towing. Now, there's some bigger class SUVs with some heftier tow packages. Like if you had I'm shooting from the hip, a 5,500 pound rating or above, you'd probably find this a pretty nice pairing. Or like a mid-size tow package pickup, like a Colorado Tacoma, something like that. This would make an excellent pairing. And the fact, again, it's only about 20 foot. It is not giant. It is not hard to park. In terms of like where can you fit it? You can squeeze this just about anywhere you want. Now up front here, one of the other nice qualities of this RV is that it has a full front pass-through compartment. There are a lot of little single-axle trailers that don't have that. And Rockwood doing Rockwood things. They do stuff like add the extra light through the pass-through, and you may notice how there's actually aluminum framing under that bed. Anything that they build in-house that's load-bearing, so whether it's the structure of the RV or like a dinette or a bed platform that they make, they will always build a welded aluminum cage for it. That's just how Rockwood and Flagstaff do, or Rockstaff as I often like to call them. Now, while we're talking construction, the floor of this is the only thing that's not laminated. Like your sidewalls are double Asdel. Your even behind the nose cap, they still include a 1-inch laminated wall, which is very, very uncommon, very unusual that a brand does that, but that's just how these guys do it. It's still an aluminum structured floor. It's just a 5/8 tongue and groove plywood floor deck. That's the same kind of floor construction methodology that you get in a lot of big, heavy-duty luxury fifth wheels. They're putting that same kind of method down here in their little GeoPros. It's also why their GeoPros have gained some weight over the years. These used to be lighter, but they were built with a pop-up floor, and after about 5 or 6 years, Rockstaff didn't like how they were holding up, so they bulked that up. It also means they're a little heavier, a little more expensive now than they used to be, so it's just kind of how it all goes. Now, you may have noticed by that baggage door, there was a simple side mount solar prep plug. We're going to give you a look up at the roof in a minute so that you can take a look at the solar package up there. Over here, you got your standard, I threw an L in there for some reason, standard side mount griddle situation going on. And this was, again, one of the very first brands to standardize the inclusion of tire pressure monitoring. And there's just so many people that people who didn't buy Rockwoods that have Rockwood to thank for it, because they kind of pushed that trend and given you a little more insight and peace of mind and safety into your towing equation. Now, in case you're curious, because you don't see a spare tire on the back, it is belly mounted down here, which is also where you see the sewer hose caddy tube, which is nice so that you don't have to put your black tank stuff with your picnic chairs, so that you don't end up rubbing your hand on your picnic chair and getting pink eye, because that's not a fun way to spend your camping trip. It is, however, I found a very good way to get the neighbors to leave you alone. You go to shake their hand and they're like, oh, you have pink eye, and they leave you alone, and then they tend to leave the campsite the next day. Funny how that works. Anyway, you know what I don't know I've ever done a good job of? I've talked about it. I don't think I've ever really shown a frameless window open. So here's the thing. With the tilt on that window, it's like a Jowlessy style window. It tilts open so you can get some rainy day airflow because you get, water runoff. The hiccup is that's literally all the further it opens. It does not open any more than that. Now, they still get some airflow. They don't get incredible airflow, but that's also part of the reason that big Max Air fan and the Peekaboo I Smell You door are handy. You can kind of work around that a little bit because that big fan can help pull air into those the windows that otherwise just wouldn't get a lot of it. Now, working our way back here, something else I want to point out that's easy to miss: front and rear stabilizers. A lot of little campers are rear stabilizers only because a lot of people buying single axle campers are first time buyers, and a lot of RV designers ask the question, do first time buyers even know the difference? Do they even know that front jacks are missing? And that's how a lot of RVs are designed. And that's not how these are designed. Similarly, you see the same thing with the roof access ladder, and giving you a peek up there. Again, you've got 200 watts of factory standard solar. Today we're looking at an optional second solar panel that you can get. Now we could always add that for you aftermarket. You don't have to change wiring, you don't have to change charge controllers, anything like that. I do prefer to have things done from the factory when I can. And you know, if you are going to do any kind of like light boondocking kind of use, some you know, just kind of like, I'm not going to say super off-grid, off-road, people use those words too much, I'm going to say off-pavement. If you're going to do some off-pavement camping, you're going to like that extra solar panel and the 1,000-watt inverter that comes in this that we talked about a little bit on the inside. Now, it seems like a small thing, but I do like the fact that even this little trailer still has a black tank flush and a full hot-cold outside utility shower. So those extra little details that you find here, and it's all this stuff. It's 1,000 death by paper cut reasons GeoPros are not the least expensive single-axle little camper out there. What kind of shocks me is how they're also still not the most expensive. So once again, thanks for tuning in. Check the links in the video description. You can see where we have one of these parked, either in the Rockwood GeoPro or Flagstaff ePro, identical clone sisters, two names for the same thing. I'll also see if I can dig up some similar floor plans, like J-Feather Micro 166 is a really nice side-by-side comparison with one of these. They each do some things the other one doesn't. They're both really sharp. I'd be, you know, kind of curious. Like, it's kind of surprising me you don't see a lot of floor plans like this in the stick and tin market, and I've really never understood why. It's such a good layout. Like, I've seen a couple brands try, but no one's ever really just nailed it the way that they have on these. Anyway, let me know what you think about the camper, and until next time, take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.